Hey guys, I'm Alastair from Trail and Kale, and this is my Brooks Catamount 3 review. That's these shoes here. I'm just a regular guy who absolutely loves running and reviewing the latest running shoes and gear. My 5K PR is 20 minutes, which I'm always trying to beat. I've run countless ultra marathons around the world, and my favorite distance is the cheeky half marathon. Road or trail, I love running on them both. I'm not afraid to let you know when a running shoe is crap, but also you're definitely gonna know when one blows me away. Either way, our independent running shoe reviews are always 100% honest, reliable, and hopefully you'll come away from this video having learned something new. Right off the bat then, I think they look really cool and they feel really good to slip on right out of the box. But who are the Brooks Catamount 3 trail running shoes designed for? Well, their website states that they're for 50 to 100 kilometer races. Now, whilst you could definitely run that distance in these shoes, they are quite firm. And that's for a reason. That gives you responsiveness and control on the trails and gives you that speed that you really want if you are racing. But firmness does come with a hit, and that is comfort over long distance, especially if you're going to be running on solid terrain. Maybe you've got some asphalt sections within your race or training run, or you've got to run to your trailhead. Either way, they are firm, and if you're used to running in a firm trail running shoe, then this will be absolutely fine for you. And actually, I am really quite enjoying the ride on these ones. But I don't think I would take them past 50 kilometers. There are better shoes for that, and I'll share those ones at the end of this review. With that said then, yes, great shoes for running up to 50 kilometer distance, so I would take them on any distance, and they're definitely all-terrain trail running shoes. I mean, the traction on these shoes so far is awesome on climbing. The upper creates a really nice secure fit as well. There's absolutely no heel slip going on these shoes, and the lacing system's great as well. So that's just a really broad overview of who they're targeted at. So if that sounds like you, keep on listening, watch this video to the end, and I'll let you know if they're worth the money. Jumping straight into the key specifications then. They cost $170, like I just said. I will let you know if they're worth that at the end of this review. How do they fit and how do they feel? Well, they're very much true to size in length, and they have a medium width overall, but the toe box is fairly airy. So if you have wide toes, then these shoes are actually going to be really good for you. The upper is really nice. It's an engineered mesh, it's very durable and has a really solid fit. Take a look at this. Durability then. You've got this extra durability section which overlaps the upper in strategic places, so this is actually covering my big toe on my left foot. What that means is you're not going to wear through this upper, so it's super durable for anyone who gets tears in the top of the upper where their toe might be wiggling or poking upwards. This will protect the upper and keep it durable for much longer. There's a nice little elastic loop which is really good for stowing these laces away so you've got no flappage. That's brilliant in races because there's a lot less chance for those laces to come undone during a race when they're tied away like this. Speaking of the laces, they are using the notched laces, which you actually see in quite a lot of Nike super shoes like the Vaporfly and also the Alphafly. Love these laces. When you do them up, they actually stay up. Brilliant. Plenty of cushioning in the tongue and also the collar and the heel counter around the back here. Plenty of padding and cushioning, and what I really like in particular is how low this collar is. So it's nowhere near your ankles, there's no rubbing on your Achilles. The responsive midsole is using nitrogen-infused DNA Flash foam. So if you've watched some of my other Brooks running shoes reviews, then you'll be familiar with DNA Flash foam already. But essentially it's a very responsive, durable, high energy midsole foam. Now, those words mean it's not hugely cushioned, not hugely plush or padded for anyone who's expecting that. If you do want more padding or cushioning in a running shoe, you probably want to look towards the Hoka Speedcoat 6. Or the Ultra Timp 5. I'll put links of all these shoes I recommend in descriptions and also overlay them too. And within that midsole you've got the SkyVault Trail plate. What's that? Well, it's not a carbon fiber plate, it's kind of a plasticky plate I believe. It's not as firm as a carbon fiber plate, but it does have more energy return than not having any plate at all. And a plate within a shoe acts as kind of a rock plate as well, protects your feet from sharp, jagged rocks on the trail. So I love the dual purpose of this SkyVault plate. It's certainly good on the climbs. It helps propel me forward and up the mountain, but also on flats it's very fast and responsive too. The outsole is using Trail Tack green rubber. Now I'd say these lugs are about 4mm deep. So not hugely aggressive, but aggressive enough. I haven't had any slips on this climb so far, and it is pretty steep. It will get steeper, however. But let's give you an example. These trails, they go down something, and there's quite a lot of loose, dry dirt, which means there's a lot of potential for slippage on these trails. So it's very easy for me to tell whether an outsole is any good. If you're familiar with my reviews, you know I love Vibram Mega Grip. Absolutely insane, that stuff, and traction is unbeatable. But so far on the uphills, I can't tell the difference between this and Vibram's Mega Grip, so we'll see what happens on a downhill. The support is neutral, and there's a 6mm drop from heel to toe. The stack height isn't very high off the ground at all, which is great if you want extra control on the trails. And finally, they weigh 9.1 ounces for a size US men's 9, and that's my pair. That's actually pretty lightweight for a shoe like this, so feels great on the climbs. It's nice not having to lug up extra weight with you on your feet. So I love how light they feel, and that 6mm drop is just perfect. If you're enjoying this review, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one. Excuse me if I'm a little out of breath. I've been trying to push these shoes really hard on the uphills because they are advertised as being really good climbers because of the SkyVault plate, and they are. I tell you what, Brooks have got to be one of the most underrated trail running shoe brands out there. I don't understand it. Their shoes are so damn good. For the price, you get so much. It's the same with the Cascadia 17 and the Catamount 3. It's just another one of those shoes. They're exceptional at climbing for a few reasons. One, the SkyVault plate that I mentioned before. You get just enough flex to propel you upwards. It's not too stiff as to where your feet might be fighting that plate. Like some trail shoes with a carbon fiber plate, they just don't climb that well because they're designed to really propel you forward on the flats and on downhills because of the stiffness of that plate and the energy return stored. So they just don't climb that well. But a plate like this, which isn't carbon fiber, does allow for a nice fast climb, but also fast propulsion on flats and downhills. So the plate is the first reason I really like them for the climb. Second reason is the upper is very breathable. And like I said before, in this toe box area, there's lots of room there. So there's room for my toes to splay as I'm climbing and pushing forward. That is essential for climbing because it means your feet don't rub on the inside of the shoe, on the edges. So they're super comfortable for climbing uphill. And the foam, the DNA Flash, is very responsive as well. I did mention at the start that they're very firm shoes, but I'm actually growing into these. They don't feel too firm at all on these trails. And there's quite a lot of hard ground rock sections, which you will see in the videos or the clips that I'm overlaying. And actually they're handling it really well. It was mostly the asphalt on my way over to my trailhead where I really noticed that firmness. So if you do have a lot of kind of concrete or asphalt that you need to run on whilst getting to your trails or throughout your trails, then they might be a little bit firm for you guys, but otherwise on mixed terrain, they're awesome. I've also had a chance to run in these shoes on flat sections. Damn, they're fast because that SkyVault plate and a responsive midsole. They're just a dream to run in. I find that they're allowing me to get a nice fast cadence as well because of that responsiveness. It makes me want to increase that cadence and just roll with it. And it feels very efficient on the run. So far, I'm absolutely loving the Catamount 3. Well, it's official, the Catamount 3 owns it on the downhill too. Why does it do so well on the downhill? Well, it's interesting because this shoe is listed as a neutral running shoe, meaning there's no additional support if you have pronation issues, for example. But because of that SkyVault plate and a modest footprint underneath, they're actually really stable. I've had absolutely no issues with any ankle rolling or times where I felt like my ankle might roll over on some of this terrain, which is quite easy because if you take a look at this stuff, a lot of this stuff, it's quite steep downhills, dropping down and down over this kind of stuff. That is the perfect terrain for rolling your ankles, and the Catamount 3 is not threatening to do that. So kudos for Brooks for creating a trail running shoe that's actually very stable on the downhills as well. So absolutely love it. The responsiveness of that midsole allows me to react to the trail, and it feels like the midsole foam is very adaptive as well. Kind of adapts to the different terrain as I run over it, and allows me to spring back, keep control on the trail. So absolutely wonderful feeling, and I'd expect nothing less from a brand that's based in the Pacific Northwest. They've got the perfect conditions for testing all-terrain trail running shoes and in all weather conditions as well. So although it's not wet on today's run, and it hasn't been raining for the past week or so, so I don't have any wet patches to run on. I'm familiar with Brooks running shoes, and I know they do the business in mud and on wet surfaces as well. That outsole rubber compound is fantastic, and dare I say it, it almost feels like it's on level planes with Vibram's Mega Grip. Once again, I haven't tested this in the wet, but I'm very confident in Brooks' ability to create a rubber outsole compound that does do well in the wet. So I've still got a lot of this downhill section to go. Time will tell how they perform throughout this very steep fast climb of about 300 meters in total. I have done about 150 so far, and so far I've had nothing but joy and fun on this run. So once again, Brooks, if you're watching this video, excellent job. What are some of the best alternatives to the Catamount 3 right now then? Well, I'm going to say firstly maybe the Hoka Speedgo 6. There is more cushioning in that shoe, but it is another shoe that kind of just handles everything really well. It's got a higher stack height, so it does have a lot more cushioning and plushness in the midsole, but both perform exceptionally well. Then you've got the Ultra Timp 5, which Helen recently reviewed. Damn, that shoe is good. The Nike Zagama 2, which is another huge improvement for the Nike Zagama line. And then you've got the Arc'teryx Cylon. 4 exceptional shoes, but very different in their own ways. But why I'm saying they're competitors is because they are just all mountain beasts. All 5 of these shoes are just exceptional at handling pretty much any kind of distance and any kind of trail. To learn more about those shoes, definitely check out the links in the description, and also the links that I've put up there. And finally, is the Brooks Catamount 3 worth the $170 price tag? Yeah. If it wasn't clear already, I mean, these shoes are exceptional. I'm having so much fun running in these shoes, and I can't believe you get all this for $170. So yes, definitely recommend them if you've been watching this review all the way to this point, and it sounds like they might be for you. I highly recommend you give these guys a try. But if you do have some questions as to maybe you've got some specific requirements for the type of trail running you do and you're not sure if they are for you, just drop a comment down below and I'll get back to you really soon. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.